in Nigeria, or is this a political move by the president?
It could be both. It could be both, really. You know, when we heard that the Independence Day celebrations has been moved, we were thinking, yeah, maybe it's to help our finances and all of that. We didn't know that there was some like coup plotting. Although it's rumors, there's been no official confirmation, you know. But the fact that some senior officers were arrested, you know, and they have been, of course, these newspapers can't just come up and just raise up this sort of issues, you know. And again, this sacking of the service chiefs gives credence to the fact that those rumors seem to be true. You know, it gives it a bit of credibility. So the president thought it wise that, look, I need to fire my service chiefs, appoint new service chiefs. And funny enough, or shockingly, the only person that was left is the Chief of Defense Intelligence, you get. So, and people have been saying, oh, it's the Chief of Defense Intelligence that nipped the coup plots in the bud. So, the president is just looking at it, trying to protect himself, you know. There's nobody that they will be like coup plotting around that won't seek to protect himself the more, you get. And hopefully, back to the security way, so hopefully the service chiefs become, or they perform better than the previous ones. Hopefully we see better security, we see better engagement between our armed forces and this. We don't just see them being on the defensive, we see them going on the offensive. So we can only hope and pray for the best, but definitely we can see that this is most likely a political move or a political survival move, of course. So you most likely see, because of the rumors of coup and all of that, so it will definitely be seen as a survival mode by most Nigerians, you know, because if you look at it, even the former Chief of Defense Staff, when you look at him, General Musa, is someone that former Chief of Defense Staff, when you look at him, General Musa, is someone that I personally love, you know, when he talks to the media, you know, we need our military men to actually come out more and speak to the Nigerian, because the truth of the matter is our army is beginning to perform civilian duties, which I found against, beginning to perform police duties rather, which I found against. But he is someone that whenever he speaks with intelligence, he speaks with courage. But it's sad to see him go. Hopefully these new service chiefs, they perform better than the previous service chiefs.
So do you feel like our security issues have been tied to the service chiefs that were changed?
Yes, they've been tied to them, because really the persons that have been keeping our security, that have been keeping Nigeria secured for the time being, in the large part, is our military. Our police are underwhelmed. Our police, they were not able to tackle our internal security issues, you know. We are dealing with a wide range of issues, and I mean, we have military deployments in almost 80 or 90% of the country. I mean, military is in almost every nook and cranny of this country. And so you see that it builds on the military to actually keep our country secured, even more than the police. Because the police, really, they've been doing their best also. They've been doing what they can do. But you just look at it in the south-south, in the southeast, in the southwest, in the north, central, northeast, is mainly the military that has been in charge. Who deals with bandits? Military. Who deals with terrorists? Military. If you come to the southeast, who deals with all these agitators, IPOB and all of that, is military. If you go to the south-south, militancy and all of that is the military. So the service chiefs have a major role to play in terms of protecting the lives and properties of Nigerian citizens. So they have a major role to play, and hopefully, like I said earlier, hopefully they perform better than even the previous service chiefs.
Okay, we would wait to see that. The next newspaper front page we're going is the Nation newspaper, where we see that wicked to PDP governors said lining me will bury party in page 6. We also see that Nigeria exit from the FATF grade list excites president in page 3, and we'll see the big headline: Tinubu to new service chiefs, be vigilant, United Armed Forces. And we see beneath it that court threatens to make necessary orders as Kanu defense stalls, and Oshu 2026 APC elders Consensus unites 13 aspirants ahead of primary election in page 7. Now we're going to be moving to the story of the Nigerian exit from the FATF grey list. We see that the Financial Action Task Force, FATF, of the world body had tracked money laundering and terrorism financing and announced Nigeria's removal from its grey list during the meeting in Paris. Nigeria was placed on the list in 2023 due to the weak financial monitoring of and poor coordination among agencies. But under President Bola Ahmed Tinubu's directive, the government implemented strong reforms on updating laws, improved transparency, and tightening anti-money laundering system. President Bola Ahmed Tinubu has called the dislisting a strategic victory for Nigerian economy and praised Nigerian financial intelligence as well as its united way of putting a front. Hafsat Bakari, for leading the reforms, has earned an international recognition. Experts say this move will make everything easier for Nigerians and attract investors as well as improve their cross-border trade and boost confidence in their financial system. This is a beautiful one. It's one of the things that we applaud in Nigeria, to see that we have actually been able to gain this under the administration. I think one of the news we were talking about previously, forgotten who in particular came out and said that all the stories said about President Bola Ahmed Tinubu's regime has been a lie. When it comes to the financial, they say we borrow a lot and we are suffering financially. But when the World Bank wants to bring out their own analysis, it just shows that Nigeria has gotten better in this particular regime. And analyzing all of this, he is saying that democracy did not, the sickness of democracy did not start in the regime in this regime, but in the regime even before now. And we must treat it not just because of this particular regime. We must not come out and say he's the reason why democracy is and all of that. But I understand what they're saying and he's saying, but still we're asking, in all of this, why are we still seeing the hike of poverty in Nigeria?
First off, let me say that it's a good one that we're cut off from the list. We're taken out from the list. I mean, it shows that some things are working. So I praise the CBN governor, the finance minister, the finance team, for us to be on that list. When I was reading it on X this morning and, someone posted it, then another person was now trying to demean it. It says, celebrate something about this government. Celebrate this government. So it's a good, Nigeria, we were known for money laundering, all those things. Our financial institutions were seen as being very weak and all of that. So now us being out of it, being taken out, is a good one. It will show to the world that Nigeria is accountable. We are credible. People want to. These people, they do their research before coming to invest in the country. Investors don't just invest anyhow. So this will show to the entire world that Nigeria is being is on the right path, to financial freedom, to financial stability, and you can come invest your money here and so on and so forth. Now, moving on to why there is still hike in poverty and all of that, even as regards the financial policies. This issue of financial recklessness in public did not start under Tinubu's regime, and it started even before, probably when we entered this republic, so there have been a lot of financial recklessness and all of that. And the removal of subsidy, which is what every government since Jonathan's regime had tried to do, even Jonathan tried to remove subsidy, we know, it was a catalyst for where we are now. Our inability to remove subsidy as at then is what made President Tinubu to remove subsidy now, which many world associations, International Monetary Fund, WTO, they've praised the move, but it would have been better if it was done then and not now. So when that subsidy was removed and we floated the naira, we couldn't defend the naira and all of that, increase in goods, increase in services and all of that, and it came as a shock to many Nigerians. So once there's an inflation rate of 30-something, 40-something %, there's definitely going to be an increase in poverty. You understand? Because people are buying things that you buy for 3 years ago for 15 naira, now you are buying it for 300, 400 naira. Services that you are getting for 20 naira, now you are getting it for 500, you know. So these things will definitely increase. But I was telling my friend one time, I said 50 naira and 100 naira notes now, they've become so scarce. They are now very scarce. So these are the issues. But if you look at the policies, on paper they are very good. You know, we needed to remove subsidy. Economists will tell you that, you know. But me, I always say there is nowhere in the world that they don't subsidize stuff, you know. So there is a lot of monies now that governments have to function with. You know, our states are no more owing salaries like before. They are getting a lot of money from the FAC allocation. So there are a lot of things that we can say, okay, the removal of subsidy and all other monetary policies they've helped us to achieve. But my own problem is accountability. When we get these monies, do these monies, are they being passed on to the people in terms of good governance, good infrastructure, education? You know, it's not just about collecting these monies. You know, we are going to have a new tax policy now, tax regime next 2026. Now, you will get these monies from us, but will there be good governance? And this is what we should begin to ask the government at the end of the day. Ensure that we have good governance at the end of the day. Yeah.
Okay, moving to the next newspaper front page, the Punch newspaper. We see that inside Regina Daniels Ned Nwoko trouble home in page 4, and Nigerian exits global money laundry watch list in page 9. We also see that Lagos bank worker missing as mother dies, father battles stroke, and the big headline, why Tinubu sacked service chiefs presidency, has come out to say in page 4. Coup rumors lingers despite official denial, and also my life is a danger over viral video on killing of Christians. Plateau Clean has come out to say. We also see that Nnamdi Kanu to open defense on Monday, and Obasanjo, I reject El Rufai as my successor over immaturity. We also moving to the next newspaper front page, and it's the Saturday Tribune newspaper front page. We see that 90th birthday presidency honors Adebutu with GCON in page 5. We also see that Tinubu sacks new service chiefs to deepen vigilance in page 3, and ADC to Tinubu come clean on the reason for the sudden change of service chief in page 5, and Southwest can have its own Silicon Valley. Awolowo, Dusumu has come out to say in page 3. I want you to drop a statement on that particular note from Awolowo.
Okay, yeah, so you know, we've been trying to create our own tech space here in Nigeria, you know, Silicon Valley. You know, there was a time when we were calling Yaba our own Silicon Valley. That's Yaba in Lagos, you know. But we can create our own tech hub here in Nigeria. Definitely, we can create our own. It doesn't even need to be a sort of Silicon Valley of any sort, you know. We can create our own tech space. We don't need to call it, we don't need to pattern it after the American way and say, oh, we have a Silicon Valley. You get, you know, me, I don't believe in just copying and pasting and all of that. We can create a situation whereby in Abuja, where we have a tech space, in Lagos, we have a tech hub, in Cross River, we have a tech hub, in Maiduguri, we have a tech hub, you know, just a combination of people that are into tech and want to develop the next big thing, the next big product. You know, we are talking about AI, we are talking about advanced technology. So you can just have a collective of people, you know, thinking of ways to bring in new technology, bring in new AI. But the major issue that I always have is, you say you want to have a new Silicon Valley here. The infrastructure is here on ground. We are still dealing with electricity issues. You get, we are still dealing with electricity issues. We have bad roads. Our network, Globacom, MTN, Airtel, we are still having issues with all of them, you know, as regards provision of internet services. So these are the minor issues that we need to deal with before we can say let's have tech hubs in this country. You know, other countries, they provide the infrastructure for technology to thrive. You get, so those basic infrastructure is still what people need. One of the basic infrastructure that people need that is food. Are people still eating it? Are people eating it? You know, they say a hungry man is an angry man. So if a man that is hungry he won't be able to think. We have a lot of tech people in Nigeria. You get they need a lot of infrastructure on ground. And so let us create that infrastructure. Let government provide that infrastructure. Our universities also need that education. If you go to our universities nowadays, you will see there are a lot of tech hubs, there are a lot of artificial intelligence hubs and all of that in the university, but they are not functional. They are not, I went to my school, my university where I went to, there is a tech lab, but when I go there, just all these old laptops, old systems rather, just lying there fallow. So this critical infrastructure needs to be provided before we can say, we'll provide our next, we'll build a Silicon Valley, or build a thriving industrial hub for technology in Nigeria. Yeah, so that's what I'll say on that.
Okay, we'll be going on a short break. When we come back, we'll be diving into other newspaper front page. Just stay with us.
(5G) technology. 5G technology promises to be a game changer by delivering ultra-fast internet speeds, low latency, and the ability to connect millions of devices seamlessly. It's going to fuel the future of smart cities, autonomous vehicles, and IoT devices, allowing them to communicate in real time. However, 5G rollout isn't without hurdles. High costs of infrastructure and regulatory issues in some regions have slowed down implementation. By 2026, the 5G market is expected to be valued at $667.90 billion, with the US, China, and South Korea leading the change. The challenge? Cybersecurity risks and data privacy will remain top concerns as more devices become connected.
Yes. Welcome back to the newspaper review on Idea Television. I am Jacob Stubora. Now we'll be diving into the Weekend Trust front page. We see that Ivory Coast votes amid fear of violence in page 34. Beside it in page 28, we see stories of children suffering from malnutrition. And in page 14, we see how gold for arms fuel terror in Northwest. Now we also see Tinubu appoints new service chief in page 4 and meets the man who may be PDP chairman in page 6, and crumbling love stories of Nigerian celebrities in page 4. And in page 8, we see how government reshaped Northern Emirates. Now we'll be diving into the story. First of all, Barrister, I want you to drop a comment on how gold for arms fuels terrors in Northwest. We've been hearing most of this headline come up, but we've not actually tackled it. I want you to drop a comment on it.
So in the northwestern part of the country, they have a lot of resources over there. Yes. There's I remember mining. There's a lot of mining going on there for gold, for other precious stones, and all of that. And because of it's a hot spot for mining and all of that, there are people that are coming from even outside of the country to try to mine, and there are communities around these mining areas. So in order for these people to have access to these mining places and all of that, what they will do sometimes, they will gather people, maybe terrorists around. They will just go there, go and pursue these people away so that we have access to the mining. They go to the villages and they kill the people there, pursue them out of the what they call it, their villages and the localities, and they just start mining over there. So you will see at the end of the day that some of these our terrorist issues as a result of resource control. Politicians want resource control, businessmen want resource control, and all of that. In Zamfara, especially in Zamfara, the banditry in Zamfara is mainly as a result of resource control, mining, gold rush, all those kind of things. So you see that these things are the ones that are sponsoring these terrorist activities. If there is no gold or this thing, mining resources in some of these villages, or some of these are not the northwestern part of the country, there won't be, there won't be some of these terrorist activities ongoing there. But because of this, politicians, businessmen, they want control of these areas. They make sure that they go there, they kill people, they pursue people away so that they can have access to resources without hindrance and all of that. Yeah.
But we know that we can both agree that gold is one of the ways that we can actually help our economic growth in Nigeria. Yeah. What do you think we can do to cope, or what do you think they can do to curb this particular issue? Because of course you cannot say stop mining at all, close down every...
Yes, the thing is, we have illegal mining, then we have legal mining. You get so illegal illegal mining is what fuels this.
Okay.
You get, but legal mining, if you have it's just like our oil refineries. They don't just come in and just pursue people. Although we are having issues in the Niger Delta as regards, but you do it legally. You register with who you need to register with, get control. Then if you want to access these communities, you meet their leaders. Instead of going to go and kill them, you say, "Hey, we have this resources in your place. What do we do?" You go to them, you meet them, you talk to them, you approach them, and you negotiate with them. Okay, your people, your people are sitting on top this gold, this thing. Can your people move to this side? Yeah, because at the end of the day, government owns everything. Government owns all the land in Nigeria.
About asking that particular question. Yeah. But it's in a community where, okay, now imagine I buy a land, I purchased the land, and there was no knowledge of gold being there, and I find out that, and the government comes, who does the gold belong to? The government or me? No, I bought the land.
The government, you see, the thing is that nobody is the owner of land in Nigeria.
Okay.
The government is the people. Let me not say the government. The people is the owner of the land in Nigeria. The government keeps it in trust for us. You get? So even anybody that buys land, the C of O carries 99 years.
Okay.
So you can only have access to land for 99 years. So the original allottee of a particular land is being given 99 years to hold that land. Yeah. So as time goes on, you might see that 99 years might turn to 40 years, 30 years, 20 years, 10 years, and all of that. But even at that, the government can still say, because of public interests, I want to collect your land from you. And they definitely need to compensate you, because you've spent money and all of that. But they can collect your land from you and say, because of overriding public interest, we've seen gold in this land and all of that. So that is what our law prescribes. You get? In other parts of the country, in other parts of the world rather, you will see that if I buy land, I may get the land. You cannot come and push me out of the land and all of that. It's until I agree. But in Nigeria, the government is the one that keeps land for us. Although they say we are the ones that own the land, but I mean, if you buy land and government says there is gold there, they will meet you and talk to you and say, please move away from it. But they will definitely need to compensate you and all of that. Yeah. Okay.
We'll be moving next to the Ivory Coast votes amidst fear of violence. We see that 83 years old President Ouattara is seeking for fourth term in office and is widely expected to win. His main rival, former President Laurent Gbagbo, and ex-Credit Suisse CEO Tijani Tiama, which both have been banned from contesting. The decision has agreed opposition supporters, especially in the south and the west, where many says it will be boycott election. Security have been tightened after weeks of banned protest, with 32 people jailed for participating in the demonstrations and over 700 arrests that have been made across the country. 4 other candidates remains in the race, including former First Lady Simone Agbero and businessman Jean-Louis Billon, communist Ausa Don Melo, and the Cotrice Laugu. I want you to drop a comment on this issue of Ivory Coast. We've been having so many issues, I think, in Africa when it comes to presidency and winning of election. We've had so many cases, not just from Ivory Coast, not from Nigeria, from every other African countries.
You see, one of the problems we have in Africa is, I don't know if democracy is, we need to tweak the way we do our own democracy here in Africa to pattern it enough. The way Alassane Ouattara, the way he came to office, when Laurent Gbagbo was removed from office, you will just know that you came into office in this manner. They had to forcefully remove Laurent Gbagbo because he lost the election. That's to Alassane Ouattara, who is the current president now. He came into office, changed the constitution, is running for his 4th term. Now he doesn't want to allow opposition. I mean, you were an opposition leader that was privileged to become the president. Now you don't even want opposition again. You get? I was reading about this other Mr. Tiam. I was reading the Credit Suisse president one time about. He seems like a very, very sensible person that should be able to manage a country and all of that. But it's so sad that him and Laurent Gbagbo, I think Laurent Gbagbo was even imprisoned at some point in time. They've been banned from this election. So it just goes to show that when there is no opposition, what's there to really fight for, you know? So a lot of Ivorians will definitely boycott the election, because rather than an election, it has become a coronation. You know, they are just going to crown you the president of the country. So it's not fair. You know, Africa, we need to, if we want to practice democracy, let's practice it right. Let's do it the right way. There are countries, you know, you look at Ghana, they've gotten it right as regards elections. They don't need to fight, they don't need to be violent. You look at some other countries, even South Africa too, even though it's one party that's been ruling them, you will never hear of fighting India, and they go to vote, they go for their polls and do the things right. So it's just funny that in West Africa, some West African countries, you look at Nigeria, you look at Cote d'Ivoire, you go around, even those leaders that are Cameroon, that is in Central Africa, that one now 90-something years old, he said he's going for another term. What does he want to do? He can't even stand up. You get? So we need to sit down and look, what is our problem in Africa? Is democracy, the democracy we are practicing, is it the right way to go for us? You get? Because we've been stumbling up and here and there in terms of this democracy. I'm not saying democracy is bad. I love democracy. Yeah. But we might need to have our own system of democracy that will work for us, so that we don't have sit-tight leaders that come to, and like I always say, institutions need to be stronger than personalities. We need to make sure that we have stronger institutions in our country. And we can only have stronger institutions in Africa when people are able to say, look, this is what we want our institutions to be, so that we don't have sit-tight leaders. We don't have people that will just be ruling us and be taking care of themselves just for that. So I think the Ivorians, well, it's so sad that it has come to this. Alassane Ouattara might even have actually won the election if he had allowed Laurent Gbagbo and Mr. Thiam to contest. But this one that says he wants no opposition, that means he's scared of something. So I don't know, we just wish them well, and hopefully they come out of it. There is no violence, there is no killings, and they have a fair and fair election. Yeah.
So as a lawyer, I want you to stay on that shoe and tell us what we're actually doing wrong that is actually affecting our democratic government in Africa at large, and what we should be doing.
Yes, so let me start from the last point I made. I said we need to make our institutions stronger. Let me take it, because I don't really know much of these other countries. Let me take Nigeria, for example. You get the appointment of the INEC chairman should not be made by the president. For me, you get it should either be made by the judiciary, that is the Chief Justice of Nigeria, or it should be the highest ranking member of INEC. You get the Attorney General should not be appointed by the president. The Attorney General should be appointed by either the judiciary or the highest ranking member of the Minister of Justice. So that, because the Attorney General can have the right to probe the president's doings. You get? So it brings a sort of checks on the president. Other positions like EFCC chairman and all of that should not be appointed by the president. It should be nominated by another person, maybe the judiciary as well, or the highest ranking EFCC staff. I don't know if you get me.
You have to be why you are saying this, so that we can understand that.
No, so that they will be able to probe the president. Okay. You know, when, for example, now if I'm the president and I appoint you as my INEC chairman, of course, before I ever appoint you, I will ask you, I'm going for election now. This is what you will do for me. Are you ready? Because if I will appoint you. If I now appoint you, you will do my bidding. Because I'm the one that appointed you. But if it's a neutral party that appoints you, you don't need to do my bidding. You are at the beck and call of the people that appointed you, which is the judiciary, the citizens themselves. So these are the things that we need to do, so that our institutions will become stronger than personalities. I mean, the president is the grand commander of federal authority of Nigeria. He has enormous powers. In the country, we need to put that in. We need to have checks and balances. You get? Then again, our leaders, we need to start appointing or putting people in elective offices that really have our interest at heart. Let me even start it by this way. We need to start being people that are good people, that people can say, oh, let us elect this kind of person to be our leaders. Because if you look at it, if you elects people to the National Assembly that push for only their selfish interests and selfish agendas, you definitely see that the country will go AWOL. You understand what I'm saying? So it starts from even those we elect into offices. What do they stand for? Who are they? You get? So if once we start electing people that think of Nigeria first, then we'll see that the country will definitely have better, will definitely be better. You get? So this can also cut across other African countries as well.
Okay, because of time, we'll be diving into the Vanguard newspaper front page. We see that they filed at 12, a murder at 13. Pastor told me I would die if I told anyone what happened in page 12. And we see Peter Obi urges equitable port development across Nigeria in page 8. And what will it take for the president to drop power to appoint INEC chair? Itodo has come out to say to actually back what you just mentioned. We also see that Tinubu reshuffle service chiefs, appoint Oyede as defense chief in page 3, and World Bank meeting, IMF warns Nigeria of debt oil revenue risk in page 9. You're going to drop a very, 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 very quick comment on that then.
So the IMF coming out to warn us of our debt, oil and debt, that is just like a father, or I don't know how to put it now. It's just like a colleague, coming to warn us that we need to take, our debt is skyrocketing. I mean, we have been borrowing a lot of money. And like I always say, countries do borrow. Countries, even USA now, they borrow a lot of money. The Chinese, everybody borrows money. You get, but the actual fact is, can you borrow? When you borrow, can you pay what you borrow? You borrowed. So, for example, if I'm earning 1 million naira per month and I'm in debt of about 200 million naira, that means imagine, and that means I earn 12 million naira a year, and I'm in debt of 200 million naira. That means before I pay that 200 million, and I'm still going to borrow more. Yeah, that means before I pay that bill, that means my children's children might come and meet that debt. You get? So we need to see how we can manage our borrowing. And how do you manage your borrowing? How do you manage your borrowing? Is either increase my earning capacity to maybe 50 million naira a month. Okay. You get? Or I meet the people I'm owing, and I talk to them and I say, see, I cannot pay back this 200 million. No. What do you do? How do we clear this debt? Which is what Obasanjo did during his time in terms of the Paris Club agreement. He made